There's a moment in every conqueror's life where they stop being a soldier and become a legend. For Caesar, that moment came in the frozen forests of Gaul, surrounded, outnumbered, staring down a unified enemy that shouldn't exist. Because Gaul wasn't supposed to fight back like this. These were supposed to be scattered tribes, barbarians who spent more time killing each other than organizing. Caesar was supposed to march in, crush a few rebellions, collect taxes, and go home with another triumph. But then, a man named Vercingetorix did something no one expected. He united them. And suddenly, Caesar wasn't hunting anymore, he was being hunted. This is the story of how Caesar almost lost everything in Gaul, how he faced his greatest enemy, how he won the most important battle of his life, and how that victory turned him into something Rome had never seen before and would never be able to control. Let me take you back. 58 BC, Caesar arrives in Gaul with 4 legions, about 24,000 men. Fresh, disciplined, Roman. His mission, simple: keep the peace, manage the frontier, maybe push the borders a bit if opportunities arise. Caesar takes one look at Gaul and sees something else entirely: opportunity. Within months, he's fighting the Helvetii, a massive tribe trying to migrate across Gaul. He crushes them. Then a Germanic warlord named Ariovistus starts causing trouble. Caesar crushes him too. 1 year, 2 major victories. The Senate's hearing reports and thinking, okay, maybe this wasn't such a bad appointment. But Caesar's just warming up. Over the next few years, he's fighting non-stop. The Belgae in the north, Germanic tribes across the Rhine. He builds a bridge over the Rhine River, something no Romans ever done, marches his legions into Germany just to prove he can, then destroys the bridge and comes back. Pure psychological warfare. We can reach you anywhere, remember that. Then in 55 BC, Caesar does something insane. He invades Britain. Nobody's ever done this. Britain's a mystery, an island of fog and warriors at the edge of the known world. Romans whisper about it like it's mythical. Caesar loads his legions onto ships and crosses the Channel. The first invasion doesn't go great. Storms wreck his fleet. The Britons fight harder than expected, but Caesar doesn't care. He's not there to conquer, he's there to say he did it. He comes back the next year with a bigger force, pushes further inland, defeats British tribes, takes hostages, then leaves. Why? Because back in Rome, people are reading his dispatches and losing their minds. Caesar crossed into Germany, Caesar invaded Britain, Caesar's doing things even Pompey never did. His commentaries, his war reports, are being read in the Forum like adventure novels. Every victory makes him more famous, more legendary, more dangerous to the Senate. But here's the thing about conquest: it's never as clean as the reports make it sound. Gaul's bleeding, villages burned, tribes enslaved, Caesar's selling thousands of Gauls into slavery to fund his campaigns, whole populations wiped out. Roman senators back home are horrified, not because of the violence, they don't care about that, but because Caesar's becoming too powerful, too popular, too unstoppable. One senator named Cato starts calling for Caesar's arrest. He's committing war crimes, he's acting like a king, someone needs to stop him. But nobody can, because Caesar's got his immunity, his 5-year governorship, his legions. And then, in 53 BC, everything changes. Crassus dies. The richest man in Rome marches into Parthia chasing glory, gets his army slaughtered at Carrhae, and dies humiliated. According to legend, the Parthians pour molten gold down his throat, poetic justice for a man obsessed with wealth. The triumvirate just lost one of its pillars. Then, the next year, something worse. Julia dies in childbirth. Caesar's daughter, Pompey's wife, the bond holding Caesar and Pompey together, gone. Pompey's devastated. He loved her, but more than that, she was the reason he stayed loyal to Caesar. Without her, the alliance starts cracking. The Senate sees it. They've been waiting for this. They start whispering to Pompey, "Caesar's dangerous. He's got 10 legions now. He's conquered all of Gaul. What do you think happens when he comes back to Rome? You think he's going to share power? He's going to take everything." Pompey starts listening, because deep down, he knows they're right. Meanwhile, in Gaul, Caesar's got problems. For years, he's been playing Gallic tribes against each other, divide and conquer, but the Gauls are starting to realize something. Caesar's not going to leave. He's not here to keep the peace. He's here to own them. And in 52 BC, a young Gallic chieftain named Vercingetorix stands up and says what everyone's thinking. "If we don't unite, we die separately." Vercingetorix is everything Caesar isn't expecting. Young, charismatic, brilliant strategically, he's not some barbarian warlord swinging an axe. He's a leader. He rallies the Gallic tribe's enemies who have been killing each other for generations and gets them to fight together. For the first time, Caesar's facing a unified Gaul, and they're using his own tactics against him. Vercingetorix doesn't fight Caesar head-on. He uses scorched earth, burns crops, destroys supplies, lets winter and starvation do the work. Caesar's legions are freezing, hungry, demoralized. Then Vercingetorix makes his move. He fortifies a hilltop town called Alesia, massive walls, natural defenses, thousands of warriors inside. He's daring Caesar to attack. It's a trap. Caesar knows it's a trap. He attacks anyway. Because if he retreats now, if he lets Vercingetorix win even one major victory, the whole conquest collapses. Every tribe Caesar's beaten will rebel. His reputation shatters. Rome will recall him in disgrace. So Caesar does something absolutely insane. He besieges Alesia, builds a wall around the entire town, 11 miles of fortifications, to trap Vercingetorix inside. But Caesar knows Vercingetorix sent messengers before the siege. A relief army's coming, thousands of Gallic warriors marching to break the siege. So Caesar builds a second wall 14 miles long facing outward. He's trapping himself between two armies. His officers think he's lost his mind. His men are exhausted, starving, terrified. But Caesar's betting everything on Roman discipline, on engineering, on his legions holding when any sane army would break. The relief army arrives, 250,000 Gauls, some estimates say. Caesar's got maybe 60,000 men, and they're surrounded. For days, the Gauls attack, both armies, Vercingetorix from inside Alesia, the relief force from outside. Waves of warriors crashing against Roman walls, arrows, fire, screams. Caesar's everywhere, riding between positions, shouting orders, plugging gaps, his red cloak visible across the battlefield so his men know he's there. Fighting with them. Then the Gauls find a weak point. A section of wall on a hill where Caesar's fortifications are thinner. They pour through, thousands of them. Caesar's line starts collapsing. This is it. If that wall falls, the whole siege falls. Caesar loses. His army gets slaughtered. The conquest of Gaul ends. Caesar grabs his personal cavalry, Germanic horsemen he's hired, and charges. Not from behind the lines, not strategically, he charges into the breach, personally. The sight of Caesar covered in blood, sword swinging, red cloak billowing rallies his men. They push back, reinforce the wall, hold the line. The Gallic attack breaks. Days later, the relief army retreats, starving, defeated. Inside Alesia, Vercingetorix knows it's over. He has two choices: let his people starve or surrender. He chooses surrender. Vercingetorix puts on his finest armor, rides out of Alesia alone, and throws his weapons at Caesar's feet. Caesar chains him, parades him as a trophy, keeps him imprisoned for 6 years before strangling him in a Roman prison during Caesar's eventual triumph. Cold, brutal Romans. The Siege of Alesia breaks Gaul's resistance. After that, scattered rebellions pop up, but nothing unified, nothing existential. Caesar's conquered an entire region the size of modern France. He's added millions of people to Rome's territory, enslaved hundreds of thousands, killed maybe 1 million more. And his legions, they're not just soldiers anymore. They're Caesar's legions. They've bled with him, starved with him, won impossible victories with him. They're more loyal to Caesar than they are to Rome. Back in the capital, the Senate's panicking because Caesar's term as governor is ending. He's supposed to disband his army and come home. But if he does that, they'll prosecute him, charge him with war crimes, corruption, illegal wars. And Caesar knows it. Pompey's in Rome now, the Senate's favorite. They're pushing him to protect the Republic from Caesar. Pompey's hesitating. He doesn't want civil war, but he's also not going to let Caesar walk into Rome with an army. Letters go back and forth, negotiations, ultimatums. Caesar makes his position clear. Let me run for consul in absentia. Let me keep my immunity. Then I'll disband my legions peacefully. The Senate, pushed by Cato and Caesar's enemies, refuses. Disband your army first, then come home, then we'll talk. Caesar knows what that means. It means arrest, trial, exile, maybe execution. So in January 49 BC, Caesar's camped with 1 legion near the Rubicon River, the boundary between his province and Italy proper. Crossing that river with an army is treason. It's a declaration of war against Rome itself. Caesar stands at the riverbank, staring at the water. His officers are silent, waiting. And Caesar says the words that will echo through history. Alia iacta est. The die is cast. He crosses the Rubicon. And Rome will never be the same. Stay tuned for the next part, and don't forget to like and subscribe.